Hi there, thanks for joining me. I'm Kira Woods and this is your weekly intuitive tarot forecast. So we've come into the week of Monday, June 15 through to the 21st of June. Of course, the 21st being the solstice, so this is going to be a very powerful week. Alright, I'm shuffling the cards and I'm just going to draw 3 cards to see what's coming up this week. Alright, so let's have a look. First card I've got is the 8 of Swords. And, another 8, and this of course is the Major Arcana of the Strength card. Followed by the Page of Cups. Okay, let's have a look here. Alright, this 8 of Swords. You know, when it comes up in a reading, most people, suddenly take a deep breath and, you know, because it is a card, when you look at it, you know, it doesn't look like exactly a lot of fun happening. However, you know, always remember that the swords are about your thoughts, your mind, your mental processes and perceptions. So in this situation here, this 8 of Swords, this woman is bound, yes, and she's got a blindfold on. She's got these 8 swords behind her, but her feet are free. So what this card is wanting to talk about is reminding us that to reflect upon if you're feeling trapped in your particular situation, if you're feeling that something that you're working on is giving you that sense of maybe being bound or being controlled, that to pay attention about are you being stuck by the perception of your situation. Is the feeling of being stuck related to your thoughts and your mental processes, how you're thinking about it? You know, it's wanting to remind us about how sometimes our perceptions can block our will, or our mind can actually create the blocks in the first place. It's not saying that the situation you're involved in may not be real. It's saying that it might not be exactly as you are perceiving it at the moment, or how you're thinking about it may not be the only way to think about it, or the only part of your sort of thought processes that are needed to sort of figure out how to move on the next phase. So, in other words, this woman here is, the card is saying, you know, she's being sort of trapped by her own imposed thinking. And therefore, if she changes her thinking, then she'll realize that there are a lot more options on board. So, the energy around you this week, particularly Monday and Tuesday, will be wanting to remind you that if you don't see any options, or if you don't see a way out of a situation, or if you're just feeling like, you know, am I just stuck? Is this the only way it's going to be? That to ask yourself, is there another way to think about it? And if I change the way I'm thinking about it, will I then become to realize there are actually more options? The other thing about this card is, because her feet are free and she hasn't run away, is wanting to remind us that she's sort of waiting to be rescued. So again, the energy around you is going to be asking yourself, are you waiting for someone else to solve this problem for you? Are you waiting for someone else to change the dynamics of the situation? Or are you afraid to change it? Even though you yourself have the capacity, are you afraid? Particularly with the Strength card here, I think definitely pay attention to a fear of change, or a fear of you putting your own thoughts into action, or fear of you actually even expressing how you think and feel about a situation. Perhaps you're thinking that others around you won't particularly like to hear the direction that you feel is the right way to go. And what this card's saying, particularly with the Strength card there, is that in this particular situation, the energy and the opportunity is wanting to encourage you to really think about, is this the way you want to go about it? Because sometimes we need to express our thoughts and feelings around a particular situation or an opportunity, even though others may not initially or even at all particularly be thrilled about it. You might also notice that, you know, yes, she's got a blindfold on, so you'll be thinking, okay, again, coming back to just not seeing the truth of the matter, not seeing what's really there, feeling totally powerless and or surrendering to that sense of feeling powerless. And is that what you really want? Or is that what's really true about the situation at hand? This card can also point out, and I'm going to say again, particularly with the eight major arcana, the Strength card being there, that the energy around you there may be some difficult situations arising this week, or you may feel that there's some things you've got to decide about that may not be easy. However, with the Strength card, you have the capacity to embrace that. You have what you need within you. And particularly with this Eight of Swords, it's reminding you to face your own strength and ability and be honest with yourself about what it is you really want, need, think and feel. Okay, so it can also relate to, particularly I was going to say with the Strength card in place, how your belief systems are and or old values, and have they changed? So that could be an example. That could be kind of a difficult conversation to have with someone. But are they no longer serving you? And is that why you're feeling kind of bound? And this feeling of bound may not be overt. It could be sort of that gut feeling of your gut sort of being tied up in a knot about a situation, or you might find you're just not sleeping well about something. So it could be your unconscious is wanting to tell you that you really are struggling with how things are going. And again, depending if you address your perception of the situation, if you address and look at, do I really have more options if I think differently about it, if I sort of move through that mental confusion or the sort of oppressive thoughts, particularly if you feel they're coming from the agenda or needs from others, then you can really move forward in a way that is going to be more beneficial for you. The key is to recognize, is the limitation yours? Is the limitation maybe somebody else around you? And therefore, is that feeling their needs, agendas, values, beliefs? Do you want to allow those to remain imposed upon you? Is that what you want? If you do, great. But it's sort of reminding you the energy, is that what you want? Are you really helpless in the situation, and are you living the life that you want to live? This, particularly in terms of thinking, communicating, expressing, and honouring your own values and beliefs, particularly if they have changed from perhaps others or previously. Okay, as I said, with we've got another 8, we've got the Strength card. I want to remember that the 8s are about boundaries, they're about structure, they're about limitations. So it's very much, I think, around this whole limitations concept this week. And this 8th is reminding you that there's power dynamics going on. It's also reminding us that, we need to sometimes really go inside and look at our own inner resources. And I also think with the Eight of Swords, this is the messages, but these cards are very intertwined, very linked, because you could say she's holding herself in this position because she knows she needs to go inside and really understand what it is that she thinks and feels and wants. And so the Strength card is reminding us that, we have the inner strength. When this card shows up in a reading, it says you have the inner strength that you need to overcome any obstacles or to make the change that you need to make. It's a matter of deciding, do you want to, or are you willing to remain seeing, thinking and feeling with the way things are at the moment. So the Strength card is also wanting to remind us, though, to approach the situation though with compassion. So don't sort of jump in, you have that new thought about something you want to say, particularly if it may be something somebody else doesn't really want to hear. Don't jump in like a bull in a china shop. That's not going to work, because the Strength card is saying that part of what she's saying, if you might notice, this figure here, this angel is gently patting at the lion, playing with the mouth of the lion, and it is the harmony between the two that is why the lion isn't basically biting off her hand. It's about that harmony between mind, body and spirit, and that's a very important thing here. And so as you approach whatever you need to say, do it with a place of compassion and empathy and understanding of how the other person might react. or be kind and caring and compassionate to yourself. You know, you might find you start to really sort of beat up on yourself because your values and beliefs are different to those in your family or community, for example. So with love and patience, you know, you sort of, whether it be your own way of reacting, maybe you're a very reactive person. When you make up your mind you want to do something, you just sort of run with it and kind of a little bit not paying attention to how everyone else around you ends up in a sort of a whirlpool of a situation. So this card is reminding you that for both yourself, how you react to the situation and how you then embrace this new sense of power and this new sense of harmony in yourself, this connectivity between your mind and body and spirit, that you share that and engage that with others with a real sense of empathy and compassion, particularly to how they might respond. This Eight of Strength card, this is a major arcana, is also wanting to remind you that perhaps this thing that has been holding you back, or this perception, is your fear of something, or your inability to accept that, you know, change, that there may be something inside yourself that it might sort of bring forth that you maybe don't want to acknowledge or recognize. You know, there's always parts of ourselves we think, oh, I wish that could be different. And so perhaps this change is going to bring that up. But that's a really good thing, because you have to love yourself for both your assets as well as maybe your faults. It's all a matter of what you do with them, how you interact with them, and how you share them with others, you know. And if it's always from a place of, you know, doing the best you can and not harming another, then, you know, we do the best we can in every situation. So as you come from a place of a strong moral compass, knowing that what it is that you're wanting to say or think or do is what's right for you, then you really can't go wrong, so to speak. Also, I like to think, you know, when you see this, it's, as I said, you know, kind of approach the situation with a little bit of thoughtfulness around promoting peace and healing and cooperation, because that's what this card is also about. If you have been unwell and maybe you've been, you know, if you rethink, maybe you've been unwell, you physically, this is a card that says that you can overcome that if you look at what you've been doing differently. Maybe you need to seek out someone new sense of knowledge or insight into your situation, for example. And that is open to you. I like to ask myself questions when I see this card. You know, what new energies come into my life? What new thoughts or way of thinking? What new processes? What new perceptions do I need to embrace? What's challenging me at the moment? What am I fearing? How do I feel about this new sense of power? Perhaps I'm feeling bound up because I am afraid of my own sense of my own power. Or maybe it's your own creativity or your own passion. You know, remembering that whenever you have a strong energy, and the Strength card is very strong energy, if you don't embrace it, deal with it, use it in a really positive way, it'll often manifest in a way that you would really like not to happen. So I kind of think of it a bit as the volcano scenario. So for example, someone bottles a thought or a feeling about something, and then all of a sudden the last straw, you know, the whole last straw, and boom, you know, the anger comes up, or we react in a way that's not healthy for us. You know, we hit, you know, maybe it's alcohol, or we suddenly drive our car too fast, or we say the wrong thing in the wrong time, or it could even be we burst into tears, you know, in a time that really it's not ideal to burst into tears, and then, you know, in the middle of a job interview, or in the middle of a meeting, or somewhere where that sense of vulnerability isn't in our best interest. So just remember that to really be careful around the situation you're in. What are you afraid of? Are you ready to embrace your inner power? Use it instead of having it perhaps sideswipe you. All right, last of all, Page of Cups. So the end of the week, the energy of the Page of Cups is going to come in, and now it's going to mix with this energy of this Eight of Swords and this Strength card. And what the Page of Cups is wanting to sort of say to us is, you know, follow your intuition. So if you're thinking, oh gosh, I don't know, the situation's come up, I know I see it differently now, I have looked at maybe the thing that's been holding me back, my fear or my anxiety or the sense of newfound power, and I just still don't really know. It says follow your intuition. You know, the Page of Cups is all about that, having those moments of sort of bizarre creative impulses, and that sudden thought of sharp intuition, that aha moment, or that sudden sense of inspiration about doing something that, gosh, is really quite left field. The Page of Cups is saying, that is a part of your strength. That is the solution. That the way of looking at it differently is that maybe you've always applied mental processes to solving a problem, and really the answer lies in following your heart, looking inside, looking at your passion, looking at your attributes of inner strength that don't involve the mind. Let your heart sort of lead the way is the message here. This Page of Cups is also saying if you resolve this issue of feeling bound, controlled, faulty thinking, perceptions related issues, then you have the opportunity to have a real sense of renewal from an emotive, creative place, and that freedom that will come from that, and that new sense of love and compassion, and sort of the dare to dream big, and the inspiration that will come from that. It's sort of saying take the risk to connect into the situation in a different way, and to acknowledge the feelings that might arise that are new or different, and really be clear and honour what it is that you really want to happen. So this reading, if I was going to sum it up in the whole week, is all about what do you want to happen, and if it's not happening, is it because the way you're looking at it? Is it because you're thinking about it or processing it the way you've always done it? You have the strength and capacity to do it differently. And if you know that there's something you want that is different to the situation you're in, then look inside for the answer and the power and the creativity to see how to make it manifest differently. So, wow, and as I said, the solstice is here, so let's just add a little bit of solstice energy onto that, and we're going to have a very powerfully dynamic week. So how fantastic is that? I wish you a wonderful week. I hope your June is going really well. I look forward to seeing you next week with my weekly reading for the last week of the month, and also if you haven't done so, check out my June monthly reading, which is also on my channel here. If you'd like to catch up with me, please send me a message through my website. If you'd like a free reading, I also have some specials. Please go check them out. I'd also love to hear any thoughts or comments about my YouTubes. If you haven't subscribed, or if you'd like to like my videos, please do so. I love to know that people are watching them and they're getting some value out of it. And if you feel also inspired, I have a Facebook page at Kira Woods Tarot. Please go check that out as well. All the very best, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Take care.